What's up, guys? This is Bulva the Fell-Handed. Today we are on Windstorm Standard Battle. The Greens have taken the western spawn and the Reds have taken the northeastern spawn. We are in the IS-6 Black Edition. Very powerful tank. You know, there's a lot of conversation which is better, the IS-6 or the IS-5. You know, as far as that goes, I don't even know, to be honest. One tank does certain things good, and the other tank does certain things good as well. So, I will leave that for you, the viewer, to decide. Moving on. We are running the left flank on this particular map. As far as artillery, there's only one of them. Don't necessarily have to be that concerned about, you know, possibly getting hit by the clicker. So, I feel, you know, between the cover and the hills and everything over here, I should be okay. So, we are pushing the left flank. Now, the reason I don't necessarily like to push the city in this particular vehicle is because, you know, I like to try to get a hold down if I can. Now, granted, the gun depression on the IS-6 is not fantastic. That being said, you know, there are ways to get artificial gun depression, so on and so forth. However, it is very difficult to get artificial gun depression on flat ground that is in a city. Now, I'm going to try to pull up here, see if I can't get some shots, see if I can't get some early damage. Now, you do have to be very careful because in this particular tank, in these Soviets, in the IS line period, your aim time is extremely slow. And if you want to make sure you get shots on target, you need to get it scoped in as small as possible. This gentleman right here in the German tank gets vaporized before I have a chance for a second shot. Now, the alpha on this tank will really just shut some people down. 390 alpha is quite solid for any vehicle. I mean, you know, that when you consider it is tier 10 damage, really, for you know, most of your mediums. So we put a round in the side of the guy's turret right there, and now we're just going to push up, hang a left, go around, and start putting rounds on, you know, the Reds' initial push. And all this comes down to, guys, is knowing, you know, when to take advantage of a given situation. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're tearing this poor guy apart. The game for him is over. Moving on. Have a Super Pershing right here, or a Freedom, if you will. Put a shot in his turret right underneath the spaced armor. I did make a weak spot guide on this particular tank. If you have any questions, check my playlist called Weak Spots. Going to try to go between his turret and his hull right there at the gap, kind of hit him in the turret ring there. The only downside is I was pretty close, but I rushed the shot, and this is not something you can rush, really. Now, I am heading back to the cap for cap defense. I'm not really certain if I'm going to have a huge impact, as this tank is not really fleet of foot, but somebody has to go. I'm also, you know, afraid that I'm going to give up shots to my left here because, you know, as I cut across the open there, the Reds can kind of take me apart. Putting some side shots here, decided to just kind of get readjusted and possibly, you know, pull down to get hold down. But at the same time, I'm loath to move very much because if I do, I'll have to start aiming all over again. So he ended up firing and putting a round on me. Now, going to see if we can't put a round in this gentleman right here. Man, that accuracy aim time is just something else. I would even go so far as to recommend, you know, your vertical stabilizer, your GLD, your vents, you know, food, whatever gets the aiming time down a little bit better. So right now, you know, we've switched to APCR. We've got to bump up the penetration here because this guy's just kind of sitting here in the open and putting in work on us. So we get a good round in there to penetrate him with, and now we're switching back to AP. Take another round there. And that's the thing, guys. If you're facing somebody straight up like I was, he's just going to put every single round in your lower plate. So you can try to angle if you can, but when you do angle, it makes your angled bits on the pike nose, it flattens them out and makes them a weak spot. So it's 6 of one, half dozen the other. Got a little assist damage right there from the KV. Ended up tracking him, got some good damage right there. Got another one, and then he fired a few rounds and bounced. So now we're moving on. There's only a couple of guys left, so this is essentially mop-up duty, trying to farm any kind of damage we can. Now, I do recommend getting this tank stuck in as quickly as humanly possible, and what that means is you just go straight towards the conflict. And the idea is you don't want to move around a whole lot to throw off your aim time, and you want to keep that gun running, that 390 alpha, just punishing the reds as quickly as possible. The only issue is I did push the left flank, and their attack just kind of stopped. They didn't really have the amount of tanks, troops, what have you, over there that they needed in order to make that push work. So yes, you may make a miscalculation, or for example, you may push a particular angle, or excuse me, a flank, and then you end up getting rolled. So it's a very delicate situation. You can either do very well or very bad, and the downside is you can't really get out of harm's way with this vehicle because it's a little on the slow side. But you know, it is a heavy tank. Put a clutch shot into him right there. Now we are pretty close in the IS-6's defense, so you know it's possible. You know, you can make clutch shots when you do get that close. You just have to be almost on top of them. And you've got to have a little bit of luck in RNG. Doesn't necessarily hurt. 2695, 842 damage. I hope you guys enjoy. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. We'll see you next time.